right. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. My name is Jamie Taylor and I have the privilege of leading the Thunder Bay Community Economic Development Commission. The CEDC supports business development, growth and attraction, community development and tourism for Thunder Bay. Given our mandate, today's announcement is important to us, to Thunder Bay and to Canada. There's a lot of uncertainty in business on a regular day, and unfortunately we are experiencing some very turbulent times. But Canada is uniting, and Prime Minister Carney has a plan to support a stable business environment and support measures to strengthen Canada's economy, protect jobs, and support local industries. Before we invite Minister Hajdu to the podium, I first want to invite Dana Griffiths from the Centre for Research and Innovation in the Bioeconomy, CRIBE. Dana is a registered professional forester with over 12 years of experience in the Canadian forestry sector. As the Manager of Innovation Programming at CRIBE, Ontario's leading forest-based innovation accelerator, she works to advance sustainable forestry practices, support emerging technologies, and drive innovation and investment within the province's bioeconomy. CRIBE is doing some very important work, especially in this climate and when forestry is so important to our local economy. Dana?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Griffiths, and I'm the Manager of Innovation Programming at the Centre for Research and Innovation in the Bioeconomy, CRIBE for short. CRIBE is an accelerator of novel and innovative products and technologies that utilize forest feedstock. The world is shifting under our feet in real time, and it seems like every day brings new challenges and change. However, with change comes opportunity. Opportunity to reinforce and build on a strong foundation, which for forestry lies in our primary mills and the woodlands operations that sustain them. Opportunity to build out new technologies, new products, and new markets to diversify and strengthen our sector, our economy, and Ontario and Canada as a whole. Opportunity to use our natural resources to address societal priorities, including housing, energy security, and advanced manufacturing, all with an eye towards decarbonization. CRIBE is extremely proud to be part of the effort to create this new paradigm. But make no mistake, none of it is possible without support, leadership, and vision. On this note, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the Honourable Patty Hajdu, someone who embodies those virtues. Minister Hajdu was first elected as the Member of Parliament for Thunder Bay Superior North in 2015. Appointed to Cabinet in 2015, she has served as Minister of Status of Women, Minister of Employment, Workforce Development and Labour, Minister of Health, Minister of Indigenous Services, and Minister responsible for Federal Economic Development Agency for Northern Ontario. She is currently Minister of Jobs, Families, and Minister responsible for FedNor. Before entering politics, Minister Hajdu was the Executive Director of Shelter House Thunder Bay, launching the SOS Street Outreach Service during her tenure, and was the author of the Thunder Bay Drug Strategy. She's also worked in public health and focused on drug policy, youth development, and homelessness. Her core values center around compassion, equity, and the conviction that Canada is stronger when everyone has a fair chance to succeed. She is known for her honest and direct advocacy on behalf of her constituents and interest holders, focused on improving opportunities, strengthening relationships, and healing systemic issues at a grassroots level. Patty will tell you that each and every one of us has the power to make our communities fairer and kinder. On behalf of CRIBE, I thank Minister Hajdu and for FedNor for their ongoing support. And now I'd like to welcome the Minister to the podium.
Well, after that, I feel really old somehow. You never think it's going to happen to you, eh? This whole aging thing, it's really something. Thank you so much, first of all, to Jamie for allowing us to do this announcement here and pulling this together so quickly, Jamie.
It's our pleasure.
Really appreciate the collaboration, the ongoing collaboration. And Dana, I'm really excited to meet you. Dana was supposed to come with me to Finland. I went to Finland last year on a sort of a joint venture, both to support Indigenous partners to understand the Sami Parliament up in northern Finland, but also to talk about the innovation in the forestry sector that we see driven through Finnish partners. And of course, we have many Finnish partners that work here in that sector and with our companies. And Dana got stuck in, I don't know, some horrific snowstorm and never made it. So I had to sort of fake my way through the meeting with the Finnish forestry partners because we didn't have our expert. But hopefully we'll get another chance to do that work together. Mayor, nice to see you. Mayor Ken Boshkoff is here, and of course there's also all sorts of other dignitaries. Charlotte Robinson, whose office is just around the corner. Great to see you as well. I could spend the whole day actually listing out all the important people in this audience who are doing really fantastic work to make our community strong and vibrant. But I will say that I'm sure you all have noticed these are unprecedented times. Yet again, I am so tired of saying these are unprecedented times. As I was listening through the things I've done for the federal government, I can't think of a portfolio I've held when it hasn't been an unprecedented time. And we really are in a very strange time. The Prime Minister called it a hinge moment in the history, and I think that he's not exaggerating. I mean, this is a guy who has understood business and global economies and led entire countries through tough times, including Canada and England. And when the Prime Minister of Canada, who has such a huge resume of leadership, especially through economic shock, is saying this is a hinge time, I think it's very clear, and I think Canadians are feeling that as well. We're seeing really troubling signs in the economy, rising youth unemployment, rising unemployment overall. Some areas still having labor shortages. Small communities, it's great to see NOMA's here and represented. We had a conversation with mayors in Ottawa just a few weeks ago about the challenges around having no labor in small communities. And so this mismatch between having enough people in the workforce in areas where there aren't, and having people not being able to find jobs in areas where they're densely populated, is also creating an opportunity for, I think, some really nasty narrative out there that's not very helpful for businesses or for people. And so I just want to, call out the opposition for how they're driving a conversation around immigration that's actually pitting us against each other. We can't do that now. This is the time for Canadians to pull together. We can have difficult conversations, and we have been having difficult conversations, as you know, about levels and how many people we need to keep our economy strong. But if people are asking us to be pitted against each other, we will fail on the most important project of our lifetime, and that is to strengthen Canada and to protect Canada in this very turbulent time, economic time. And so to that end, we need people. We need workers, we need strong businesses, and we need to support everyone as we transition from a country that has been very blessed over many decades to have one of the largest buying powers right next door. And we see with the effects of tariffs and other trade action that our businesses are struggling, that sectors are struggling, and that indeed people are struggling. So on Friday, the Prime Minister announced a suite of measures that can protect and help grow Canadian industries. And these are not just short-term relief. Some of the individual pieces are short-term relief, but the intention is to actually strengthen our sovereignty, strengthen our ability to trade with international partners, and strengthen our employees and businesses to be resilient and have what they need to succeed in this changing time. So, of course, under my portfolio, there were a number of measures announced around workers. So another $450 million through the labor market development agreements. These are transfers that go to provinces and territories that support reskilling. Very effective programs because they have the talent, they have the experience, they have the relationships across communities. And this will be delivered, like I said, through provinces and territories. It builds on the $120 million already announced for specifically steel and softwood lumber. The new $450 million will be agnostic to sector, and so will support workers all across the country. Modernized digital tools, I'm pretty excited about this. I'm also a little bit terrified just knowing how hard it is to modernize tools at the federal government, but we have jobs. So I'm going to ask for a critical path, and I'm going to be monitoring this very carefully. But the idea is to take Jobs Bank, which is really a powerful tool, and bring it into the 21st century using digital tools that can actually job match people who are unemployed, automatically enroll people on EI, It's about $50 million that will help upgrade all of the different abilities of JobBank, including partnerships with Google and Indeed and many other recruiters. And it will hopefully help Canadians connect to careers faster and be able to use this tool, as it will also be a useful tool for employers to find people when they're struggling to fill those vacancies. The third element under workers is work alliances and sectoral investments. Sounds like a bunch of words. I keep saying, if anyone can think of something that is, I don't know, more illuminating of what the power of this is, please let me know. But this is $382 million over 5 years. We've been hearing about this for a number of years, that sectors would like an ability to gather with employers, with unions, with workers to better plan the needs of training and skills development for those sectors, so that we don't have that kind of skills mismatch that we see. And you'll be familiar with this in Northern Ontario. We think we're on the precipice of a mining boom. Lots of people go out and get training. That training goes stale while we wait for the development of that mine. This will actually allow sectors to meet together and do long-term planning about what they're going to need in terms of skills development over the next course of time, and hopefully reduce some of that sort of wasted energy and money that goes into training without a job at the end, or not having the right kinds of skills when you actually get your project or your company retooled. And then finally, we'll extend employment insurance temporary measures until April 11th, 2026. As you can tell, we've been extending measures to support workers who are laid off by about 3-month intervals. We've been trying to monitor the market and see how things are evolving for workers. It's clear that we still need to continue with some of these alleviation measures, so we'll waive the 1-week EI waiting period. We'll also allow workers to keep the monies that are paid on separation. So oftentimes if people have vacation or if they have other monies coming to them, that typically is held back from EI. In this case, employees will be able to hold on to that money. And we'll also invest about $1.6 billion to temporarily give 20 extra weeks of income support, up to a maximum of 65 weeks to long-tenured workers. That will be a 5-year program. So this is really about, for example, an auto worker that's been working at a plant for a long time. Oftentimes they need longer than the current allotment of time to reskill, to find a new job, and this will give people a little bit of breathing room to be able to find those quality next jobs. In terms of strategic industry support, I'm sure you noted that there's a $5 billion strategic response fund. This is also sector agnostic and builds on the announcements around specifically steel, aluminum, lumber, and auto. And so it's really there for any firm in any sector that's facing liquidity issues, challenges around tariffs or trade actions that are making their viability threatened or threatening their viability. So it was also there to help people adapt, diversify, and grow. So as industries are looking for new markets, maybe retooling to create new products, product specifications that are different in different countries, this fund will be available for companies that wish to use it to support their efforts. Very excitingly, we announced something that people have been calling for a long time. I was actually kind of surprised the media didn't ask more questions about this, but we've decided that it's time now to have a Buy Canadian policy. And I think this is, those of us in Northern Ontario know how important this is. Alstom, for example, is a big employer in our sector. This will apply to all federal agencies, Crown Corps, grants, contributions, loans, and federal streams. We anticipate that this Buy Canada effort will extend to an additional $70 billion of spending. Wow. And it's really going to give our Canadian companies the leg up that they need. It's initially going to cover Canadian steel, lumber, and other materials, but as we go through, adjustments will be made to make sure that everything is covered. And ministers will have to explain why not a Canadian company if a choice is made in an area of their responsibility that isn't allotting a Canadian company the award. I think, to me, this was one of the biggest parts of the announcement, because I think it's a transformational piece that we needed. I think it's not without its challenges, as we do have other trade agreements, but I'm really confident that this is the time to be focusing on supporting Canadian companies. not so much relevant in our area, but there's also support for agricultural producers, in particular canola, which is really struggling through tariffs from another country, from China, and so they'll receive money to pivot to biofuel production and support the diversification of how that product is sold. So now I'm excited to talk about today's announcement, which is specifically for Northern Ontario. And we know that we're not strangers to tough times. I sometimes think the ministers around the table that have been from regions like ours that have seen booms and busts, forestry, mills, mining, bring a specific knowledge of what it looks like when you have a sector that goes down. Thunder Bay and Northern Ontario has always punched above its weight. We also have done a ton of work on diversification over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And so today we're announcing $3.5 million that will go towards 10 projects to strengthen economic resilience across the region. The investments will obviously help with the growth of our region, and I just want to give you a sense of where they are, where this money is going. So it is $3.57 million in 10 projects. So CRIBE will receive $1.7 million to continue their important work. So congratulations, Dana, on a very successful application. And I won't read everything, but a part of it is to promote commercialization, collaboration, and investment in forest products. So we're very excited to see what will come out of the work that you're doing. Northern Trust will receive $198,000 to upgrade equipment and infrastructure, improve productivity and job creation. Muskoka Timber Mills will receive $93,000. I know, Muskoka doesn't feel like it's Northern Ontario, but they are in the FedNor catchment area. Keepers of the Circle, which is an Indigenous women-led modular home facility, will receive $922,000, and this will include the ability to build daycare, cultural room, a living space, and year-round training. It will support the housing supply and the Indigenous workforce development. So really two critical components of the work that we're doing around the economy. And then in terms of strategic planning and economic diversification, the Township of Schreiber, Nipigon, Terrace Bay, and Espanola will all receive support for economic development in their communities. And finally, the Wakatoan Development Inc. Corp will receive $57,000 for a youth intern for 18 months so that we can get young people into the work of the environment. So this will support the Ecological Corridor, Guardians Program, and Indigenous Land Symposium. So some really exciting projects all across Northern Ontario, and I'm just really proud to be a member of Parliament that represents this very vibrant and very resilient area. Northern Ontario has seen its share of tough times. And tough times makes resilient people. And it also teaches communities about how we pull together. And when I look at the last 2 decades of work by political leaders, by economic development experts, by businesses, small businesses, young people investing in themselves and in the future of the community, I'm just so proud. I am proud every single day to represent this area, and I'm really grateful to be able to do this work. So thank you very much.
Well, wow. So we're really excited about what this means for Thunder Bay, the region, and for Canada. These federal initiatives directly support Thunder Bay's economy, helping our businesses succeed, creating jobs, and opening doors for workers across many sectors. I'm particularly excited about the work that we're going to be able to continue with CRIBE in the future. We welcome these measures. With the federal support and our local strength, we are better positioned to build a stronger Thunder Bay and a stronger Canada. I want to thank the Minister. It's always a pleasure to have you here in our office. You always bring great news. And I want to thank everybody for coming. This is a great turnout. Thanks to the Mayor for making today a priority. Minister Hajdu will be available for media questions, but then we want to be able to take a group photo if that's possible. So thank you everyone for coming. It's a great day for Thunder Bay and for Canada.
Hear, hear.